It's hard to imagine that slavery still existed in this country just over 100 years ago, and the Gullah people are the direct descendants of the slaves that worked the rice plantations in this region. I'm Eric Hastings, and today we're learning more about this unique African culture. Because of their immunity to tropical diseases of the 1700s, the Gullah people had little contact with the outside world. They preserved their West African heritage through their isolation. To continue our education, I thought we'd make a stop at the Coastal Discovery Museum here at Honeyhorn. The Honeyhorn Plantation was a working rice plantation until the mid-1850s. Today, it serves as an educational center and art gallery. Why are the Gullah, or the Gullah people, historically significant? That's the first one.
Well, I think they're significant to this island particularly because we pretty much know the history here, and our ancestors came here and worked the fields. That brought quite a bit of wealth to this area.
What does the word mean, Gullah? What is that? Where does that word come from?
We think the origin of that word came from West Africa. We believe, as most historians believe now, that that word derived from Gullah, which was a tribe in West Africa, a rice-growing tribe. But some people also think that that word may have derived from Angola, which is a country in West Africa, where some enslaved Africans came from.
And the plantation owners of the time, they really were very specific in terms of the kind of slave that they needed for this kind of work, right?
Absolutely. South Carolina was particularly interested in rice growers. And these people from West Africa were rice growers before slavery began. South Carolina at one time grew nearly 300,000 acres of rice. And so the first crop was very much rice and involved much labor. And they brought the labor from West Africa.
And the Gullah, they kind of spread into Georgia a little bit, but even so, this is still the kind of the epicenter, right?
Well, that's what we like to think, that this is
well,
the
I'm
epicenter.
the only center of my universe, but that's another
this
story.
This is the epicenter of Gullah.
Right.
Georgia people might have some dispute on that, but we believe that South Carolina, and then Georgia is second, and a little bit of North Carolina is where Gullah people live.
Well, thanks for doing this today, because we really appreciate it.
Glad to do it.
To get an idea of what the living conditions were like for the Gullah people, be sure to stop by the Stony Baynard Ruins. Now, this was the main plantation house, but over here were the slave quarters. And what's significant is that this was for two families. After the war, the town of Mitchellville was established by the freed slaves, and some of the islanders became landowners themselves. Today, you can visit the reproduction of the Mitchellville schoolhouse that was built on its original 18th century land. It's my pleasure to introduce Louise Cohen. Welcome. Thank you very much for being here. Can you help me out just a little bit? Help me out with what life was really like for the Gullah.
Back then, before the bridge, it was mainly the way of life was like farming and, well, really the land and the creek. It was either the creek or the fields. So that's mainly how people made a living.
The history of it is a pretty unique story, which not a lot of people know about, but
No.
what is it that makes it so unique?
Well, what makes it unique is that we preserve it. And see, Hilton Head is an island, and of course, back then, before the bridge, you could only go back and forth with boats. And so everybody just about had a boat, you know, like the battle, the little handmade wooden flat-bottom boat.
When you tell these stories to people that have never heard them before, what are they most surprised by?
A lot of people are surprised that we are here. The people are really surprised that we're here.
They think it's a part of history, and that was it, and then...
Yeah, and they think that we are gone. Because when they come across the bridge now, they don't see somebody with a plow and a horse. They don't see the cotton field. You know, so they say, oh. So when they probably ask somebody who wished we were gone, well, where are the Gullah people? Oh, they are. Now, I kid you not, someone just told me this last month. They said that y'all moved to Savannah.
What?
I said, to Savannah.
Hello.
I
did?
Okay.
I didn't know that.
Okay.
Without the hard work of dedicated professionals, educators, and volunteers, the story of the Gullah here in South Carolina may have vanished. I hope you take some time to learn more about this unique piece of American history. I'm Eric Hastings. Thanks for watching.
Now that singing is slow. So let me just add a little bit of Gullah music to it. Oh, come by ya, Lord, come by ya. Oh, come by ya,